Hi everyone, my name is Nidia B, and today I'm going to be talking about the topic of affirmations. The book that I'm referring to today is already up here. It is Mirror Work from Louise, and I'm specifically going to be just looking at this book and why it has been so vital on this issue for me and for many others. So just a little bit of background first. Louise Hay is a spiritual author. She passed away a few years ago. She's from the US. She became very popular in the 1980s, 1990s, and continued to be very popular decades later. She set up Hay House Publishing, which is very well known, and Louise Hay's books have really focused on the principles of self-help, overcoming our fears, our resentments, those things which cause us pain, can also affect our body. And she has just done extensive work and focus on different ways of healing. So one of the practices that Louise Hay came up with, it's several others also use it, but she really made it popular, was affirmations. And I chose this topic because I've had a few conversations again this week with friends, and the subject came back to affirmations and how important they are if we are to look at how we think and approach things in life. And I got introduced to affirmations about 12 years ago, and the first time that I heard of them, and I was given it was at the time a friend, she gave me a document and it had a few affirmations on it, and the first thing I thought when I saw them was, these look like mantras. I'm from an Eastern background. The first thing I thought was, this looks like a mantra, and this is something very similar to repeatedly saying the name of a god or a goddess, or just reaffirming that connection to the universe or whatever we believe in, an inner self or a higher self. And so I kind of like looked at them, and I didn't pay much thought originally, but then a few years later I read Louise Hay's Heal Your Life. I've already did a bit of a discussion on that in one of my other videos, and what I came across was how she had some very powerful affirmations about healing, and in terms of using affirmations to heal our body, to let go of resentments, to look at those things which we might have something, let's say a stiff neck, or might be suffering from stomach issues, and she had what could be causing those problems in terms of barriers and blockages in terms of emotions and mental thinking. But then she also gave affirmations as a way to break out of that and to really change that. I came back to affirmations this week because I was talking to a few people, and specifically the topic that came up was how we can have old tapes that we have in our minds, and this can be because of something we've heard when we were younger, or something said to us, or somehow we picked it up. And it can be all the way from I am not good enough, to I can't cope, to I won't be accepted, or I'm constantly being rejected. It's just different old tapes that we pick up when we're younger, and it can be from our school environment, it can be from home, it can be just from clubs, societies, friendship groups, peers. And what happens over time is that we can actually build these old thinking patterns into our being, and without realizing it, actually function and live from that thinking pattern. So anyway, the reason why I go on to affirmations is because it's been said and proven through different practices and just everyday people using affirmations that they can help break these patterns. And one of the things that I have been thinking about lately is there's a concept that it takes 21 days to break a habit. And some people say, well, to break a habit, we have to introduce a new habit. So for me, that really resonated with then introducing affirmations into our lives. And I personally have them on bathroom mirrors. I can have them at the back of a book or at the back of a notebook. Today, I'm going to be looking at Louise Hay's mirror work. And the reason why I want to focus on this book specifically is because she goes through 21 days of doing mirror work using affirmations to help reprogramming our thinking. Each day, she talks about what could be a potential challenge. She then gives affirmations to say in front of the mirror. And then finally, she actually gives journaling exercises and practices that we could do. I found this book really, really just amazing, because what she did over 21 days was she tackled different areas which I could be having an issue with. For example, home or family or workplaces or my body, or even just looking at our face. So the mirror work is just absolutely amazing, because Louise Hay was able to actually each day tackle a different area of ourselves. The other thing that I found amazing about this book and specifically was that she was able to really look at the issue of intimacy and eye contact. And when I worked through this book using it, I realized that she was really, really good at helping us feel comfortable looking inside the mirror. So one of the things that I recall was that she would do different practices, all the way from using a bathroom mirror to using a mirror, let's say in our bedrooms when we really need to sit down and look at ourselves, to looking at our reflection when we're walking along the road and just being able to notice ourselves and even see ourselves in a reflection in that sense. And I thought that was amazing, because I didn't realize actually how much I was confronted with my own image until I actually started to do these practices and work through this book and do the exercises, and that started to reveal in me that how uncomfortable I actually was with looking at myself. The other thing that Louise Hay did was that she also looked at how we can actually become have this self-talk. So by doing the mirror exercise in the morning, what happened was that I became very, very aware with some of the things that as I did the mirror exercise, I didn't like. So there would be an affirmation such as I love you, or an affirmation such as I approve of myself. But what happened was that as I said the affirmation in the morning, I noticed some of the blockages and barriers that would come up. And as I went through the day, I realized how many times that blockage was stopping me or impeding me from doing an activity that day, such as showing up to a meeting or talking to somebody about something very uncomfortable. And so, so again, what I realized was as I did the exercises in the morning was how much throughout the day my subconscious was now releasing and showing me how negative self-talk, which was quite hidden underneath, was affecting me in my everyday life. The other thing that I noticed when I was doing these exercises was that I really noticed a fear, and the fear was just confronting myself and the fear of being able to keep in contact with myself. So as I did the exercise, initially I would just think that, I'm just going to say an affirmation. But because I needed to repeat the affirmation over a period of time, it meant actually sitting in front of the mirror for more than just a second or two. And I started to realize how uncomfortable I was with myself and how much fear was coming up. And what was interesting for me, especially, was because of the kind of work I do. I'm a communications professional. And I realized that I was so uncomfortable with myself in the mirror. And then I thought, well, if I'm uncomfortable with myself in the mirror, how difficult it must, it can be, and how I can impede myself then in everyday life as a communications person. But I think this is relevant not just for comms persons, but just for everyday people, because in today's society, increasingly, we are communicating in different ways. We have social media, we communicate, whether it be through videos on Facebook and YouTube, like what I'm doing right now, all the way to tweeting and so forth. We have our photo up in places. We also receive a lot of feedback. Sometimes it's not always great. Sometimes there are people who are just mean, but that happens in life. But what's interesting is that because in today's society, especially with the generations that are coming through, since so much work is around showing ourselves that exposure to the outside world. When I was in front of a mirror, I realized how vulnerable I felt. And I just realized at that time that that vulnerability is also, of course, present when I'm outside in the world. And what the affirmations were doing actually was that they were helping me to have a layer of protection and a layer of confidence that I didn't realize I actually needed until I did the exercises. And so the last thing I want to just mention is about this mirror work is that it is a 21-day exercise. And as I went through it, what I realized was that I became more and more comfortable with myself. And by no means am I done. I think I'm going to have to go back and do this again. I think this is a lifelong work. I think it's amazing. I really want to pick this book back up again and do it again a few years later, basically to see how far I've come. But what I really found interesting was that this book just gave me so many nuggets, such as releasing anger, building self-esteem, being vulnerable with myself, healing, feeling comfortable. And I just think that's really important and key to today's society. And one of the things I do today is that I do work with people in terms of helping them build their self-esteem, their self-confidence, their ability to go outside and present themselves. And I just think that this book, such as Louise Hay's Mirror Work, you know, I keep mentioning it again and again, but it is just absolutely fantastic, and just a 3-week home course and being able to do that. So yeah, I'm going to stop there. I hope you found this helpful. Affirmations today are available freely on the internet. There are just so many great websites, how to use affirmations, how to incorporate them into your life, making your own affirmation, looking at different areas, whether they be the workplace or again, home, family, partnerships, love, body, image, studying, just abundance, so many different ways of looking at affirmations. A key tip that I just want to affirm again and say, and I've said this to many people, is always say your affirmations in the present tense, in the positive, and focusing on those things that we do want to attract into our life. I know it's very well said, but I always want to reconfirm that it really is something about the power of the moment. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I am going to link this book below. I'm going to link again Louise Hay below, and anything else that I might find relevant for you to check out. And please let me know, questions to ask you is have you found a source for affirmations that you found particularly helpful? Are there affirmations that you love to say that you use? Do you use your affirmations with specific other tools such as crystals, or perhaps some other form of something that connects you to your inner self? I'd love to hear experiences. Please leave comments below. Please like, share, and yeah, I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much for joining me.